Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm Joel Barna. I'm one of Appamada's entrusted teachers, as is Kim, who is trying to get the audiovisual right for the Zendo right now. I want to say thank you to Kim for all that he does for Appamada and for facilitating this morning, being our doshi for the sitting and the ceremony. I want to thank Nancy, who is our AV monitor, and Rosemarie, who's stepping in as a remote timekeeper. Uh, thank you so much for doing that. And, and anyone who's been associated with Appamada for any amount of time knows that there's a whole network of people who do so much for our Sangha, and I just want to express my gratitude. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as many people know, but I'm actually in Wimberley right now with a family member, my older sister, who's needed some help this week, and I wish I could be in Austin. I'm very close, but couldn't get away from Wimberley this morning. I'm going to talk some. First of all, Kim, what time should we actually totally be finished? At the top of the hour, or what is the
11:10. 11:10.
11:10? Okay. So Nancy, when it's time for the breakout rooms, give the breakout rooms um, enough time so that there'd be 10 minutes for us to come back together before 11:10. So end the breakout rooms at 11 o'clock Austin time. So I want to say that I've been reading a book by Joko Beck called Ordinary Wonder. It came out, I think, about, gosh, almost 8 or 9 years ago. And it's a later collection of her talks that was put together after her death by her daughter and others in the community that the Sangha that Joko started. Ordinary Wonder. And um, I want to connect that, what I have to say from that, with an exercise that we did as part of the intensive a couple weeks ago. And several of you who are online and Kim all took part in that intensive, but I just feel like there may be some value in you going through it again, as a matter of fact. And it's called the Bodhisattva check-in. Well, let me say, Joko, early on in the book and threaded throughout, she had a concern in her teaching with helping people to acknowledge the difficulties in their lives and the difficulties that they bring into Zen practice, and to not turn away from those difficulties, not to shy away from them, but to go into them in a honest kind of acknowledgement that she said was necessary and would provide the real path toward awakening. And she said that we often, or really as humans, that inevitably that we have what she called a core belief, and that often that starts even as early as the first days of infancy, that there's going to be some way in which our caregivers, our parents, will be not quite able to meet all our needs, and that at that time, even well before any verbal capacity, that we begin to form a picture of the world as not meeting our needs, and that because we are so dependent, we cannot conceptualize that as being the fault of our caregivers. That that's simply too threatening a thought, and so we blame ourselves. And this is all happening in an infant's head, she says. And this comes, this is backed up by all sorts of research and work with attachment theory and other studies of infancy and childhood. But she says that this is a negative story that becomes part of our implicit memories, that we not things that are verbalized, but are just built in to the kind of substrate of our conscious minds. And these implicit memories are pretty much always negative, and that we carry that with us. This negativity bias, as it's been called by psychologists, and then we make up what she calls a default strategy, which is a way of protecting ourselves against the threat of uh, uh, losing connection with other people, against the threat of uh, kind of disintegrating as a personality. And this default strategy, as she says, is also usually very negative, and but very implicit, that we seldom get a chance to think it through, and that it enters into all our actions and interactions with other people, and that it becomes a kind of an armor that keeps us from interacting with the world as it is, with our lives as they are. And this was part of what set Joko aside as a teacher, is that she welcomed psychological thinking about this in this way, and said it's really integral to our Zen practice. That if we come into our Zen practice thinking, I'm going to find a way to be serene and untroubled, and we just try and leave all that stuff aside as we come in to sit, that we will be embedded within it and never have a chance to see through it, to see around it. And so she really said, look at your core beliefs. This is the task of sitting, is to find what your core beliefs are and to acknowledge them, and then find the bigger container which allows you to see through them to your true Buddha nature, to what you are behind and below all of the things that we think are our basic personality. So I wanted to do that, and that's kind of a frame for why I wanted to offer this next step, which is the Bodhisattva check-in. And Nancy, could you put that up on screen? And I want to say, if you were not in the intensive and you don't have a copy of this, I want you to make notes, because you're going to go into breakout rooms, and in the breakout rooms, be working your way through this checklist right here. And before we turn to what Nancy is screen sharing, I see the spinning here. Okay. I would like to ask people to say their names. So let's start with the folks in the Zendo, and just say your name. The folks in the Zendo, we know where you are, but the folks online, I will call out to you, and I'll ask you to again say your name and say where you are, and just so that we can acknowledge each other as we participate in this next step. So Kim, would you start?
Maybe we don't want to share while we do this.
Okay, yes. Nancy, can you take it down for just a minute?
Hello, I'm Blue from Austin.
Welcome, Blue.
Hello, I'm Peyton, also from Austin.
And I'm Kim from Austin.
Thank you. So I just noticed remarkably that my screen is almost in alphabetical order. So I'm going to start with Becky. Would you say where you are?
Hi, I'm in Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada.
Thank you. And Kathy?
I'm in far west, northwest Austin.
Thank you. Darcy?
Hi, I'm Darcy, and I'm in Elgin, just east of Austin.
Very good. Elizabeth? You've got some kind of alarm going there, it sounds like. How are you?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm in Central Austin.
Thank you. Jess?
Hello, I'm Jess. I'm in Austin, and this next couple weeks in out in River Place.
Very good. Joan?
Good morning. I'm Joan, and I'm in Central Austin.
Very good. Nancy? You're muted.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm in Richmond, Virginia now.
Thank you. Nilda?
I'm Nelda. I'm in Central Austin.
Rosemarie?
I'm Rosemary, and I'm in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Good. Q, can you unmute and say where you are?
Morning, everyone. I'm Q. I'm in North Austin.
Welcome, everyone. Okay, so Nancy, can you put that document back up? And what I want, so I'll say, I got to do this during the intensive, and I participated in this with Elizabeth, which was a wonderful thing for me. And so I will ask Nancy, if you're going to put us in breakout rooms, please don't pair me with Elizabeth, because she's already heard what I have to say, and I'd like to connect with somebody else as well. But so here, it's called the Bodhisattva Check-In. This is something, there's a book by Joanna Macy, who sadly died in July of this year. And she constructed this exercise as a way of connecting with other people, which in the way that it was presented by Peg and by Nate Smalley during this wonderful intensive that we had, it's a way of reimagining the events of one's life, beginning with before your birth and going to the country you live in, the siblings you have, the various other aspects of your life, including disabilities or social conditions which may be difficult, and imagining them each as steps that you have chosen as training to inhabit the fact that you are already a bodhisattva. You have it, before your birth, you knew that you in this life had the potential to be a bodhisattva, and that each of these aspects of your life could be seen as training. So not things that just happen to you, but things that you might have actually, that you can reconsider and see how they might be beneficial to you in choosing the bodhisattva path. Later on, we're going to say that no, we won't say it today. That's a weekday sort of thing. But there is the bodhisattva's vow that we say each weekday, where we acknowledge that beings are numberless, and we vow to free them, that Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them, so on. That all these great vows that we have the opportunity to take and to inhabit in our lives. And Joanna Macy constructed this as a way of realizing that we have more potential than we often feel like we know, given the isolated, atomized world that we live in modern times. So let's go. I'm going to read through these and just make a few notes for each for yourself. Then at the end of the reading, we'll go into breakout rooms, and there won't be a whole lot of time. We had more than an hour on this before. So what I want you to do is speak to each of these points and do it in the way that Joanna Macy is suggesting here. And then we'll have just 10 minutes at the end to come together to share what arises for you as you consider this. And
Joe, can I just ask, before you read them, sometimes when you turn your head, your voice gets more foggy, and it's really clear when it's a certain way, so it goes back and forth. So before you read, I thought maybe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. So here's the first thing. When tell your partner in the breakout room when you chose to be born, the year, and what that timing allowed you to experience in terms of historical conditions and events. So that right there could take up a half an hour. So just, it's going to be a real chore, but try and think of a brief response that you can to this. Perhaps the time of the year, too. Was the light increasing or decreasing? If your astrological sign has meaning for you, speak to that as well. Next, where? In what country and nation did you choose to be born? What region of it? Was it in a town or on the land? Which aspect of the natural world first greeted your eyes that you can remember? Social conditions. Which socioeconomic class, which race and ethnicity did you select? Report to your breakout buddy, knowing that both the privileges and privations which ensued from these conditions have served to prepare you for the work you came to do. Religion. What faith tradition, or lack of the same, did you take birth? Or were yours when you took birth at this time? Tell each other, knowing that those early religious images and stories and attitudes, or lack of them, lent form to your purpose, your hopes, your capacities to align yourself or to rebel, to seek alternatives. Gender. Now, which gender did you adopt at this time around? In the telling, it may become clearer why you chose as you did. Feel free to refer to your sexual preferences too, and to what has helped you realize about your Bodhisattva calling in this planet time. Parents, what kind of man did you choose to be your father? What kind of woman your mother? This might mean both birth parents and adoptive parents for some of us. What kind of relationships did you have with them as a child? Tell your partner, knowing that both the strengths of your parents and their wounds, both the loving care you received and any abuse you suffered, any losses you suffered, all have helped to equip you for the mission that you came to perform as a bodhisattva. Siblings. Did you choose to be an only child or have siblings? If siblings, in what order? Where did you fit in the birth order? Tell your bodhisattva partner about the companionship, competition, or loneliness that ensued from that choice, and how those aspects help build the unique blend of strength you bring to your world. Disabilities. Which weaknesses or incapacities of body or mind did you choose to accept at this time? How do they help you now? And how do they help you know and connect with the planet and the beings you've come to serve? Appetites. Which mental, physical, spiritual appetites did you summon for yourself in this planet time? Mission. How do you know at this point in your lifetime, and how do you understand your mission? So very long, very rough guide, but Nancy, if you can put us into breakout rooms until the top of the hour and explore this. And the main thing is, what is it like to reframe things that we normally think of as happenings that we are helpless over and just have to deal with, often in a kind of negative way, from our core beliefs and from our default strategy? What's it like to reframe those as choices that can be seen as helping us become bodhisattvas or acknowledge our true nature as bodhisattva? I hope that we have some time to share what came up for us in this incredibly brief time. I'm so sorry that I didn't set it up with enough time, but I'm going to take Nancy, can you take a screenshot and send me the screenshot so that I can share this document with everybody? Many of us have received it already, but just in case you have not gotten it before. And Kim, if you can share it with the Blue and everybody that is in the Zendo, that would be great. And so anybody want to share reactions to what that experience was like, what discovery that very brief discussion led to? Raise your hand if so. Kim?
Yeah, so this was quite a wonderful experience. I know all of you that are online for a few years, but Peyton and Blue, I haven't had a chance. And what a wonderful way to get to know someone in 10 minutes. Kind of unbelievable. That was really a privilege. You have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Blue. I think for me, the check-in, I felt a lot of softness. There was a lot of a softness to looking at all of these different domains in a reframing of how this is helping our incarnation as a Bodhisattva.
Mm.
And this just felt like a real beautiful opening of a flower, a nice gift. Yeah, that's what it felt like. Do you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what really spoke to me and what I'm learning in life a lot is when you get to have these conversations with people, you inevitably find some deep commonality that you maybe would not have expected, and just speaks to the deep sameness in all of us.
I'll jump in and say one of the lessons that most affected me from the intensive was Joanna Macy's repeated advice that by connecting with each other in just the way you spoke to, that finding commonalities in unexpected ways produces more than the sum of the parts, and that we are in an atomized world in which we are facing what Peg called the polycrisis. Crisis on top of crisis on top of crisis. But that by reaching out to each other and sharing our experiences, that we find things that create energy and possibilities that are much more than the sum of the parts. So thank you for addressing that also. So Elizabeth?
So just kind of echoing what Peyton said is that I was paired with Nelda, and we had so many similarities in backgrounds that we chose. And it was so interesting. And, kind of like what Peyton was saying, wow, we have so many commonalities. And it sort of helped me really narrow down my purpose and my focus, and what I can offer, and Nelda pointed to this life of service. And it just, was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's it. That's helped me just narrow down my own personal mission and the direction I'm going. So thank you. Thank you for offering this, Joel.
Thank you. I will say during the intensive, I was paired with Elizabeth for this, and well, I mentioned that before, but it was a wonderful experience and taught me a lot. Joan?
Echo what Blue said. It was a very softening experience, and all of the trials and things that I went through in my life suddenly became jewels that helped me become who I am today. And I hadn't thought of it like that. And Blue, when you said that, it just really, yes, that really brought it forward to me.
Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, hi. I'm Kathy, and I guess, well, Rosemary and I were paired in New Jersey, New York, So we have been together before and knew we had quite a bit in common. But what I realized that I didn't say was the impact on my mom came up in my thinking, because it was the beginning of the war World War II, and my father was gone, and she went back with her parents, and that's where I was born. But I never really thought about how that must have impacted her. And I think going through the pandemic ourselves and what's happening in our country, that it made me see what my mother may have gone through in making these changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rosemary.
Yeah, thank you. And Peyton, what you said about finding the commonalities, Kathy and I, we didn't get too far along in this, but we got to where our parents and grandparents were from, and we both came from immigrant families. Both of our grandparents were born in Europe, and you know, I just hadn't really thought about that as much as impacting me and my life as when I found this out about Kathy. And you know, how it might, it's a history that I have, and Italian American, and at the time in New York City that my mother was growing up, Italians were, you know, there was a lot of bias, and therefore she was very assimilated, and I didn't gain a lot of the customs and certainly not the language. So this is kind of me reintegrating myself back with facts that had to affect her tremendously, and therefore me. So thank you, Joel, very much for bringing this again to us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, we've got, according to my time, it's time for us to move to the service. But I just briefly want to say, I was paired with Darcy, and she, in wonderful conversation with Darcy, which led me to think to add another item to the list, which is, why did I choose to have the core beliefs that I grew up with? And why did I choose to have the life strategy that I adopted out of those negative core beliefs? And what has that got to do with my training? Certainly it has something to do with compassion and connection with others. To be able to look back on that in myself in a loving and accepting way, framed by Joanna Macy in this beautiful way that she did it. That we can take even those things which seem most painful to us and see them this way, as Joanna Macy and Peg suggested. Thank you.
Joel, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I won't get arrested, will I? I think it's really big. Part of this is that these are seen as choices, and that keeps us from being victims.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, at first I thought, oh, that's not the way it really is. But it really is a choice in the sense that we define and frame our world.
That's
In
a
the same
that's
way, if you and I both look out the window, we'll see different things.
right. Right. Yeah, that's crucial. It's a matter of us coming from our Bodhisattva, from our Buddha nature, our adult selves in, our self in IFS terms, to be able to meet these and see that we have choice now as to how we frame them, which is so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you.